Life is precious, and we all have the opportunity of living it to the fullest. Unfortunately, so few of us know how to manage it all. How do we account for our opportunities? How do we account for our time? How do we account for our relationships, health, spirituality, homes, finances, influence, and careers? How do we account for the one life we have to live? I am so glad you asked. In this program, you will find answers to all of these questions and more. Welcome to the Account for Your Life podcast with your host, the healthy accountant himself, Jay Moore.
Welcome back. This is the second day of the year, and so I'm super excited to be back today. Here's what we're talking about: morality versus money. Man, this is going to be a doozy. We are in Proverbs Chapter 2. Can you be ethical and rich? Man, this topic is one of these topics that many good and well-to-do Christians and folks that have studied the Bible have grappled over, because a lot of times being rich is not in the cards. We're going to talk about being rich, and we're going to talk about how it is ethical to be rich, and how, look, if you're a Christian, then you're moral. Then you can have both. It's not either or. It's both morality versus money. No, it's morality and money. So we're going to jump into this today. We're going to look at some excerpts from Proverbs Chapter 2. It's being inspired from that chapter today. So let's jump into this. And, as we kind of look at, I'm just kind of take a little side turn real quick. As we think about, and I was thinking about this morning, we think about what a day is. A day is an opportunity that we'll never get back. We'll never get today again. I was driving home from the gym, and I was very inspired while in the gym today. Just I don't know, just working harder. And as I'm driving home, I said, wow, I don't get January 2nd again. It's over. I don't get that hour back. That hour is gone. That hour and a half is gone that I went to the gym. So whatever your goals are, whatever your objectives are, whatever your vision is, whatever your dream is, it's ethical for you to have money with it. Even if, look at it, at the end of the day, even if you don't actually own the money, but you control the money, it's ethical that you control the money. So you can be ethical and you can be rich. So we're going to look at Proverbs Chapter 2. I looked at a few verses out of Proverbs that I think would be helpful today. They're going to be helpful in looking at what we're going to get out of Proverbs today. Let me just get these scriptures. Where are they at? Give me 1 second. Be nice if they would just have been ready for me. Okay. All right. Not reading the whole chapter. You should read the whole chapter. In verse number 6, it says this: the Lord gives wisdom, from his mouth comes knowledge and understanding. And yesterday we even talked a little bit about knowledge and understanding. So what is wisdom? What is wisdom? Wisdom is the application of truth. So if we think about this, if you've ever failed at something, think about this. If you ever failed at something, if you ever made a mistake, then that means we applied the wrong thing. So God has the wisdom. He says he gives the wisdom. From his mouth comes knowledge and understanding. So we need the knowledge first. You don't get wisdom just because we read the Bible. No. When we read the Bible, what we do is we get knowledge. We're now knowing of something. So we now know what the truth is. That's the introduction of truth, knowledge. And then when understanding comes in, that's when we're starting to get to the point where we're like, okay, now I know exactly what to do. But what if a person gets the knowledge, Bible? What if they take the knowledge and then know what to do and don't do it? then you have no wisdom. So when we're talking about money and finances, the way that, guys, like the way for me to have more money, right? The way for me to control more money, yes, ask yourself this question, is to not just know what to do, but to do it. So if the Lord gives the wisdom, but before we can actually say we have wisdom, we must go and collect the knowledge, know what to do, and then do it. Verse number 7 says this. It says, he holds success in store for the upright. Stop there. God has all success. How do we know God has success? In Genesis chapter 1 and all through the whole chapter, he shows us what success looks like for him. He shows us one of the projects that he was working on. He says, hey, let me show these people exactly the kind of things that I do. And then I'm going to show them exactly who they are. And I'm going to show them how they can be successful. So he shows us in Genesis chapter 1 how to be successful. Like, did you read the chapter? Did you say to yourself, wow, he segmented. He knew what he wanted. Think about this. If you know what you want, you got to segment it. He knew what he wanted and he segmented. It's kind of like, when I look at my days now, I have to segment my days. I was thinking about a social media campaign today. And I said, man, I've not used social media correctly. And I got to figure out how to use it. And then immediately I knew what to do. It was like, but don't you know how to do like Instagram stories and stuff like that? Yeah, but you haven't really done them. It's a story. Right. So if it's a story, tell a story on the Instagram. Like, that's what it is. So I was like, well, how do I tell a story? Well, what'd you do today? I went to the gym. Put that in your story. Oh man. Well, I was on some Zoom calls. Put that in your story. Right. Man, I was cooking. Put that on your story. Like anything that you did, just put on the story. Man, I was with some clients. Put that on your story. Hey, I went out and did this type of thing. I put that in your story. Hey, I'm working with my wife all day. Take a picture with your wife. Put that in your story. I was like, why haven't I done this? Because you had not applied the wisdom, son. So it's like we know the things. Like, guys, we know what to do. We just have not actually taken the time to say, why don't I use that? Then I said, another thing that I said, man, I'd like to be able to make sales every single day. He said, well, you better segment. You better know exactly like the process is so that you can actually do that. See, it says he holds success in store for the upright. He is a shield for those who walk, for those whose walk is blameless. Wait a second. You telling me I can have a blameless walk? Is this what Solomon trying to say in verse 7? I can have a blameless walk? Yeah, you could. Why? Because if you're holding on to the wisdom that God gives us, if we're taking the wisdom that God gives us, we're segmenting, we're doing the success stuff. If you're just doing what you're supposed to be doing, you're actually walking blameless. Like I said, man, how do I not waste time? How do I not waste time? How do I use the most of my day? That's one of the things that I'm solving for this year. Verse number 9, it says this, then you will understand what is right and just and fair, every good path. Wait a second. You will know what is right and just. Now, we didn't read verse 8 to actually see what that says. But if we're just taking what we're seeing in verse 9, you will understand what is right, just, and fair. Let's just allude that to wisdom. Like once you are applying the actual things that you're supposed to do, then all of a sudden the paths show up. All of a sudden you know exactly what to do. It's kind of like the more and more I do a podcast, I'm learning what to do. Now, here's the thing. When I set out on this podcast thing, I didn't have a plan because I didn't really know what I was doing. But now that it's been, 17, coming up on 7 years, now it's time to have a plan. So the more and more I do it, the more and more I understand how to communicate, the better I can become at actually helping not just myself do it, but helping others to get something from it. Today, we're talking about morality versus money. Can you be ethical and rich? And we're learning right here. We're learning. Well, we're not learning. We're discovering knowledge, because learning is when you actually go do something. When it'll give you something to do today as well. Verse number 20 is the last verse we're going to go through. Thus you will walk in the ways of the good and keep to the paths of the righteous. What is righteous? You know, I remember when I didn't know what righteous meant. I thought that was only for God, like righteous. Righteous is being on the right side, being in good standing with the king. That is righteousness. It's kind of like having a good credit report. So if they go to the credit report, oh, you can go get the car. Oh, you can get whatever you want because you have a good credit report. So if we don't have a good credit report with God, then we can't be righteous. So how do you get a good credit report? Is all your deeds? Well, you'll need them. Faith without works is dead. So you're going to need deeds. You have to have deeds in order to be righteous. Like, because if you have no deeds, then you didn't do anything. Now, here's the thing, though. Is it only deeds? No. Because at the end of the day, we don't get to be a part of God's kingdom just because we do things. We get to be a part of God's kingdom because we accepted something. What did we have to accept? We accepted wisdom. So we had to accept wisdom in the form of Christ. We had to accept Christ because Christ is the embodiment of who God is. And if we accept Christ into our life, if we accept that wisdom of who Christ is in our life, then we're righteous. We start out righteous. So you automatically have a good credit report. Now, here's the thing. You maintain a good credit report now by doing something. What do we got to do? I was thinking about that earlier, and I was just like, man, what's my why? Like, I was in the gym thinking about this. Why? Why am I going to do what it say? What I said I'm going to do? Why? Why and why and why? Why? Why would you? Why would you be rich? Why? Is it just for you to have money to have fun and just do a good thing but just kind of like do the stuff that you want? Is it just for that? This is what I came up with. Because he said so. He said that I would be rich. God said that it is my purpose to live in a state of absolute abundance. He said that. That's a part of my purpose. It's for me, and that's why. It's not just because I said I want money to do something with money. No, it's because God said that this is what my life would be. It is his purpose for me that I should have money. But here's the thing. He didn't just give it to me. He says your purpose, but you're still going to earn it. You're still going to have to work. You're still going to have to work to become yourself. And when you work to become yourself, then those paths we just read here in verse 20, it says, thus you will walk in the ways of the good and keep to the paths of the righteous. You will always, and we will always be on the paths of the righteous. Now, what are some practical things that anybody can do if they want to be ethical and they want to be rich? From the text, verse number 4, and we're going to paraphrase, seek financial wisdom. You gotta seek it. Think about this. How is a person, just say business. How is a person going to be successful in business, but they don't actually go and seek any wisdom? How is a person going to be successful in the stock market if they don't seek any wisdom? How is a person going to be successful doing anything if they don't seek any wisdom? It says, emphasize learning and understanding in financial matters so that you can search for the hidden treasures. You got to seek financial wisdom. That's number 1. Number 2, adopt ethical financial practices. Basically, we could just say adopt financial practices, right? Make decisions that are grounded in ethical and moral principles. Like, that's the thing. Like, a lot of times, like, that's not how we always think, because wisdom leads to understanding what is right and just. This is coming out of verse number 9. So if we adopt ethical financial practices, then it's morality and money, not morality versus money. Number three, exercise caution in financial ventures. Now, this one is deep. Use discretion and understanding to guard against potentiality of harmful or dishonest financial opportunities. Man, I've seen my share of dishonest financial opportunities. I got into one back in 2021. And we sometimes you don't want to believe that someone's going to be dishonest. No, you don't want to believe that. But a lot of times the writing's on the wall when you can kind of see that the principles around something is kind of vague and it's not, and you can see that there's a hole in it. There's no like, wait a second, something's not right here. It seems too easy, or it seems like they're missing something. Then if we can see that, then we got to know that, you know what, that's not built on a solid foundation. So when we exercise caution, you're not exercising negativity. What you're doing is you're going in cautious. You're saying, well, let me just do my due diligence. That's what people would call that. I'm going to do my due diligence. This is coming out of verse number 11. I'm going to do my due diligence so that as I look at something, if I find a potential loophole problem, that not necessarily a loophole, because there's tax loopholes that are ethical because it's written. And so you can just follow the written law and you win. When I say loophole, what I mean is it's a loophole to the point where there's no truth in it. And if there's no truth in it, then we should probably run away. So this is just something that I know that I've done. I've gotten to things that wasn't going to last. It was going to, like, a couple of things, maybe a few things I've gotten into that I knew well and good it was probably going to end at some point. That's not a real opportunity, right? A real opportunity is something that will be here this year and next year, year after year after year. That's a real opportunity. Number 4, and the last one before we get out of here, align financial goals with righteous paths. We read verse 7 already. So this is coming out of verse number 7. So choose financial paths that align with upright, blameless conduct, as these lead to success and protection. This is one of my words for the year: protection. What if you could protect yourself and your money, especially in business? Like what if you went into the opportunity knowing that, hey, I'm gonna protect myself when I'm getting in here. And I wish I would have known these things. I wish, you know what? The resource was available, but I didn't use it. Because I can look back and I can say I've lost the time because, man, if I would have got into business, understanding that, hey, let me go to the Bible and see what the Bible says, right? Because back in 2002, when we were just getting started in business, there was no coaching industry. There was workshops and seminars. You could always go to a seminar. There were seminars on different things. But everything was like you had to go someplace. There wasn't online anything. So when I look back and I say to myself, I did go to an event that did help me to get started, but I didn't have a solid foundation. I didn't understand that you got to keep working the principle. You have to keep working the knowledge and that understanding, because as you keep working the knowledge and understanding, what happens is you build the wisdom in. And when you build the wisdom in, you don't have to worry about the morality in money, because you will have morals. Like, I'm not gonna sell my soul for the money, which because I did not use the resource that was available. Hey, maybe some of you may not use that. Maybe like, well, Jay, I'm not sure about the Bible. Me neither. But you know what? What I've discovered in my even not being so sure is that it's true. Like, most of it is true. And because most of it is true, let me back up. All of it is true. And it's proven itself year after year and day after day and moment after moment. And things that's in there coming true. So why wouldn't I use it? Why didn't I use it? I had beliefs. And just before I let you go, I'm going to tell you what these beliefs were. These beliefs were merely lies. They were lies that I was holding on to that would not allow me to take this resource and use it like today. Today, we use the resource in Proverbs Chapter 2 to look at a foundational way to set ourselves up to have money and morals all at the same time. So we're going to go through these one more time and let you go. Actively seek financial wisdom. That's number 1. Number 2, adopt ethical financial practices. Number 3, exercise caution in financial ventures. And number 4, align your financial goals with righteous paths. Now, here's the thing. You got to have financial goals. Got to have them. So if you don't have them, it's the second day of the year. Go ahead and create them so that as you move throughout 2024, this will be the best year of your life. I'm going to prophesy that over your life, that your finances this year will grow 10, 20, 100x this year because of this resource in this book that we're going to use every single day so that you can account for your life. Guys, I appreciate you for joining me for this episode of the Account for Your Life podcast. I'm Jay Moore, the Healthy Accountant, helping you to account for your life. God bless. And
thanks for joining us, listening friends. We are so glad you invested this time with us. Always remember, you only have one life to live, so live it to the fullest. This has been the Account for Your Life podcast with your host, the Healthy Accountant himself, Jay Moore. Until next time, make it a great day.